Right, buddy, this is game week 38, the last Premier League game for Manchester United. What has been one of the worst seasons, probably in Manchester United history, definitely in the last 10 years. 16th or 17th place, we probably both finished 17th. And yeah, listen, it's a very important. It's not an important game. It's just a game that we have to get done. It's the last game of the season. There's not much riding on the line. I mean, it's a bigger game for Aston Villa than it is for Manchester United. And it's a vital game for them if they want to get Champions League football. But in terms of Manchester United, it's just another game. Ruben Amorim talked about how his focus is still on the season, but we know the season's over. The Europa League was everything, and we lost that, so we can't really get anything from this season. Now, as I said, it's a huge game for Aston Villa. I do expect it to be a lot of changes because I don't think Amorim will want to risk players like Xerxes, who he brought on, Delo, Yoro, who started, those sorts of players. But listen, United are probably going to get battered. It's quite sad when you look at where the last game of the season, we're not fighting for anything. We lost the Europa League final, and I think, as I said, it's a big game for Aston Villa. You look at United, last couple of games we've lost. We haven't been the greatest in the Premier League, losing to Chelsea before before Tottenham and Bilbao. We lost to West Ham before that. So, and even on that, we're still going to lose. I think we're one of the worst teams in the Premier League. Or we're the worst team that hasn't been relegated, sitting in 16th, 17th place. And if Tottenham were to win or get a draw even, I think United will go down to 17th. Now, in terms of Villa, as I said, we know how they play, we know what they're going to do. Again, listen, if these players turn up, it's a crime because the performance they're putting against Spurs was embarrassing. And it would be typical of Manchester United to, in a game where it matters, or a big Europa League game, and then just turn around and have a good game. Like, it would be typical United. As I said, I hope, like, you know what you're going to get from the players. In terms of team, listen, I'm not really bothered, but I'll run through it quickly. Onana in goal, back three. You probably start Maguire, Maguire, Dorgu, Amas, Masraoui, Lindelof, probably what I would go with. You could see Fredrickson come in, Casemiro, Ugarte midfield, Bruno and Ahmad 10s, and Cheeto through the middle. That's the team I'd go for. Again, a lot of changes, but again, you don't want to risk certain players. Listen, it's the final game of the season. We're at home. Again, as I said, it would be typical. But listen, I want to see Ruben Amorim take Manchester United forward. I think he is the guy. And I think that's something that we have to look at. I think Ruben Amorim's had quite a tough season at United, 6 months in. Has had a lot of things to deal with. Again, listen, the performances you put in, there should be no excuses. The standards in which United have set, being so good in the Europa League and just not doing well in the Premier League, that should have never happened. And it has been a poor season. We've had 3 managers, if you want to include Ruud van Nistelrooy this season. And again, listen, we went 8th in the FA Cup last season to 16th and no trophy, or 17th and no trophy this season. So it has been a massive downgrade. Obviously, after this, we have 2 games. Was it hybrid friendlies? I think they are, one against All Stars and one against Hong Kong. Hybrid friendlies on Wednesday and Friday. So there's games there, probably just to get a bit more revenue, to be honest, for Manchester United. Then after that, we have about 6 weeks off, I believe, until we have some pre-season friendlies against Leeds, Everton and Bournemouth, I think. So, listen, the focus is obviously on next season to get something out of that. But this season's finish is a complete write-off. From the first game of the season when we played Fulham, all the way to now has been a shambolic season. And there weren't many, there were good moments. I mean, beating City, getting a draw at Anfield, beating Arsenal in the Cup. The Europa League run until the final was good as well. But listen, this season has been a disgrace. As I said, there has to be a mass overhaul. In terms of this game against Villa, we know how important it is for them. If you look at the Premier League table, they sit in 6th place, a win for them, I believe. And if Newcastle and Chelsea draw or lose, Newcastle lose, Chelsea lose, obviously Chelsea play Forest, so there is a chance they could get in Champions League. So it is quite tight at the top of the table. And I think it'd be very interesting to see how the games go. But listen, in Manchester United, Villa will probably win. I think it'd be a comfortable game for them. I don't see United even scoring, to be honest. As I said, United play 37 games this season. In terms of losses, we have lost 18 and only won 10 games this season. Out of our last 5, we've lost 4, drawn 1. Like, very, very poor form. But listen, it's at Old Trafford. Again, I don't even want to win the game. I know it's sad to say, and we are at the end of the season. You want to see United win every game. But listen, this season's been a write-off. And yeah, listen, in terms of score predictions, I'm going to go 3-1 Aston Villa. I think how poor we've been, loads of things have to happen in the summer. Players leaving, players have to come. Obviously, we haven't had no update yet on the Kuna situation, so we see what will happen. But it's been a very, very terrible season for Manchester United. I mean, as I said, if Tottenham Hotspur win against Brighton and United lose against Villa, we could find ourselves in 17th place. And I think that's probably the lowest probably the lowest we finished. And yeah, listen, you look at some of the results, you look at the performances we've had this season, it's been poor. But listen, talking on Villa, as I said, they're going to win. They're a much stable club than we are. Amorim's talked about that. He's not going to risk any players. It's just about getting this season over and done with. I'm not even bothered about the game. I'll watch it, but we just know we're going to get the same old stuff from Manchester United. And again, listen, 10 wins from this season. I think it's 10 wins from this season. Is very, very poor. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. This has been the preview. Very, very disappointing season for United. We'll talk about season reviews after, but this will probably go down as one of the worst in the last 10 years, I'd say. No trophy, which would be like a silver lining. No Europa League, no Champions League, no even Conference League football. We've got so much stuff going on financially with the club, and the club's in a mess. But yeah, this has been the preview. What a crap season. I'm just happy it's slowly coming to an end. This season has been shocking.